All right, what's up, guys? Jackson Abe here today, coming at you with another vlog, part of the series getting prepped for my competition. We are 2 weeks out as of today. Hopefully, this uploads today, Saturday. I think it's May 2nd. Um, Kind of been slacking on these vlogs. To be honest, I'm just not a big fan of recording them. And then, being honest, not a lot of people watch my vlogs. I get a lot of views on my other stuff. So I didn't feel like continuing to invest my time into these vlogs was worth it, at least at the moment. Because truthfully, I really want my page to be about educating people and providing, helpful information regarding strength training, strength and conditioning, health and fitness, things of that nature, right? Um, Granted, that could be part of my fault, is because I don't put more of these out that they're not getting a lot of views. Um, so eventually, I would like to make vlogs a regular thing. But to be honest, I really just love training, and when I get down here and get into my stuff, I just don't really worry about wanting to set up a camera and take the time to talk to make like a vlog series, if that makes sense. So I really would like to try to figure out how I can kind of go about more vlogs in like a condensed sense, because I still would like to share more of my training. But again, I'm just not, once I get going, I get going. So we're 2 weeks out as of today. We have dynamic effort upper today, a little bit of Z press, and then my dynamic effort circuit. And we'll do some rep work, some lat pull down, some incline dumbbell bench, a few other things, and then we're getting out of here. I'm really looking forward to this competition in a couple weeks. Body is feeling a little beat up just throughout the course of prep, but using this show to propel myself into my next one in June. So I'm really looking forward to both of those. Hoping to put a really good product out on the competition floor. I feel probably the best I have in a while. I'm still obviously not 100%. So just looking to, put my best product out on the competition floor and, glorify God in the process. So thank you guys for tuning in. Got a couple questions today. So we're going to hit those after I get through this dynamic effort upper series. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, so the first question I got today is, when did I start training? So my training journey began roughly when I was 12, 13 years old. I started dabbling, doing push-ups, sit-ups in my room. I had a buddy that was really into just working out and training. So we would go down to what was called like the lead center, just think of like your YMCA. And we would, utilize all the machines and the dumbbells there. We would just go crazy for like 2 or 3 hours. And it was usually just like chest and arms, things of that nature. But I got really, really serious about training going into the summer, going into my freshman year. So that summer, we had, organized football, strength conditioning workouts that summer. And we were given access to the weight room, obviously as a team. But then outside of, the team stuff, we could go into the weight room and do our thing. And so that's kind of when I found like the weight room per se, like the barbells, utilizing, squats, bench, cleans, deadlifts, things of that nature. And we had obviously a plethora of other stuff in our high school weight room. It was a really, really good weight room in the state of Nebraska. It's honestly top of the line in my opinion. And I had some amazing strength coaches that fostered the mindset that I had. They just encouraged me to keep, getting in the weight room, keep getting better, keep getting better, keep finding ways to get better. And so that's kind of when it started. When I was really, I'll say like, 14 years old is when I got serious about it. Since that summer, got into obviously working out training for football. But after that, I've never really missed, more than a handful of days or maybe a week, like if I was sick or something like that. But anytime I've gone on vacation, I always find a weight room or a gym to train at, and like I'm a big I'm a big figured out kind of guy. You know, if you have cinder blocks or if you have some rocks or if you have just some weird heavy things that you can pick up, you can get a workout anywhere. And then obviously we have our bodies. Um, you can really get a workout anywhere. You know, push-ups, lunges, air squats, burpees, jumping jacks. You can do light plyometrics, things of that nature. So I'm a big like figure it out kind of person. Like I've always just been like, you know what, I need to get a workout in or I need to train. Let me see what I can do. And so, yeah, that's where my training journey began, and it just hasn't stopped since. So, um, I love this stuff, and I plan to keep doing it, for the rest of my life in some form of capacity. However, my body's going to allow me to do that, and whatever it looks like down the line, this is always going to be, a part of my life. All right. So another question I get asked about a lot is intra-workout nutrition. This is something I talk a lot about on my Instagram, and I've made videos on here about it before as well. But intra-workout nutrition is just extremely important because the way that I like to think about, athletes and just performance in general is like looking at our bodies as like a high performance sports car, right? You're not going to put in just any type of gasoline. You're going to put the best in, right? And you're not going to want that gas tank to just keep, getting to E and trying to push it, right? Think of that. Like I said, I like to think of our bodies as high performance sports cars. So if you're showing up to your workout with a gas tank that's already half empty, or you're trying to push through a workout, when your gas tank is almost on E, it's not really conducive to your performance, and it's not really conducive to your progress at all. Actually, it's really hindering your progress. You can obviously, yes, still make gains, still make progress in some capacity, but if you're really dialed in on like fueling yourself properly and maintaining the vehicle, you're going to see higher outputs in your performance for longer durations of time. You're going to get to the fourth quarter, you're going to get to the ninth inning, you're going to get to that late in the game situation, and you're still going to feel like you have energy or you have something in you to that you can put out, right? You still feel like you can go, you still feel like you can perform. There's a lot of like NFL guys that'll talk about we're mostly like skill guys, right? But they talk about how one of the most important aspects of the football for them as receivers or running backs or defensive backs, things of that nature, really any position in any sport, is you want your fourth quarter, your ninth inning, you want those late stages of the game to, you still want to be able to perform late in the game the same as you did at the beginning of the game, right? Well, we're always fresh, we're always amped up, we always got that adrenaline in the beginning of the game. Can we maintain that throughout the game? Can we maintain that high output late into the game, and then still, give our very best late in the game when it matters the most of the time, right? So intra-workout nutrition plays a vital role because as we are pushing ourselves, as we're sweating, as we're exerting our bodies, we are draining that fuel tank. And so, midway through a workout, you might be, your gas tank might be halfway empty, right? And so that's where I think like intra-workout nutrition, carbs are extremely important, because you're essentially topping off that gas tank while you're still going. Like imagine if F1 drivers could just have an endless supply of gasoline while they're driving. They would never, they would need a pit stop for repairs on their cars, things of that nature, right? Changing tires, maybe changing the oil. But for the most part, they want to, get back on the track as fast as they can. They want to be able to continue to have high levels of output. And sometimes the only thing that hinders them is the fact that their gas tank's going low. The car's running, smooth, everything's going great. But fuck, I gotta, pull off to the pit just to get gas. Obviously, that's just part of the game, right? No matter what. But I think if you're combating that with some intra-workout nutrition, like I'm a big fan of creatine, glutamine, electrolytes, carbohydrates, especially amino acids, and then obviously like water, all mixed together, is going to provide a tremendous intra-workout nutrition drink slash fuel, that you can start sipping on before your workout, but especially during your workout, to continue putting carbs and other essential things, like I said, like electrolytes in our body, to continue putting out high exertions of effort. And I usually like to pair this with Rice Krispie treats. There's definitely other things that you can utilize, and especially things that I've said before that you can utilize, like fruit, peanut butter, jellies, things of that nature. But the more I learn, you just really want things that are, fast digesting, things that are going to get in your system almost immediately, things that are going to help you retain the fluid that you're drinking, so that way you're not just putting water in your body and then, peeing it out. You want to be able to hold on to what you're putting in your gut and your body, so that way it stays in your bloodstream and it's, staying effective throughout your workout. It's not just going in and then coming out, right? So that is one big thing I get asked about a lot, is intra-workout nutrition. And so I just have I made videos about this before. So if you want to go, learn about it, I have these videos on my YouTube page as well as my Instagram. But it's just water. I'd use coconut water for some extra potassium and a little bit of extra carbs. And then I just use a carb powder, an essential amino acid powder. I just use salt for my electrolytes because it has both potassium and sodium in it. And then just glutamine and creatine, and then that all goes in here. And then, like I said, I start sipping it before my workout starts, and then drinking it throughout my workout. So, and this just helps me feel more fueled, honestly. I've definitely noticed a difference in my workout since I have started doing this, and I've been doing this for probably close to easily a year, probably a year and a half now. And I'll never go back. I can't train without having, my intra workout. Obviously I can, but I really prefer not to. And I honestly don't think, since I've started this, I've gone a single session without it. So if you're looking to improve your performance, if you're an athlete, if you're a general gym goer, that likes to work out and train hard, but you feel like you're getting bogged down, halfway, 3/4 of the way through your workout, intra workout, baby. It's going to change your life. All right, last question of the day. I was asked the other day, do I prefer chicken or do I prefer beef, and which is better? So I would say when it comes to meat and just protein consumption in general, there's obviously like good, better, best, right? Like depending on who you ask, especially. Like some people would say like a protein bar or protein powder would be like you're good. And then something like chicken or ground turkey would be your better, and then like beef and fish would be your best, right? Now, I say like beef and fish are top of the line because of the micronutrient content that they come with. So if you're having to ask me chicken or beef, personally, I'm gonna say if it fits in your budget, and you know how to prepare it in different ways, and you enjoy it, beef, by large and far. Chickens aren't the strongest animals. Cows are pretty large, very strong, durable animals. And so I like to think that like what you're putting in your body kind of resembles that, right? Not to say that like chicken's bad. There's been hundreds, thousands of bodybuilders, that are massive and are in great shape. And all they did was eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. But if we're looking at like an overall just health standpoint, performance standpoint, obviously, like I said, protein's number one. You just need to get your protein in, however you go about that. But at the end of the day, if you can choose beef or chicken, I would choose beef. I consume about a pound of beef a day, if not more sometimes. Chicken's really not in my diet a ton. I definitely eat it, don't get me wrong. But it's not something that I consume and prep for myself every single day. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that beef is it's a superfood. tons of micronutrients, very easily digestible, obviously loaded with protein, amino acids. And then you get some good fat in there as well. That's, needed for our bodies. And so I just personally think that beef is the superior meat of all meats. Like I said, fish is a really, really close second, like a 1A, 1B kind of deal. As long as it's, like fresh fish for the most part, canned fish is good as well. Because of the micronutrient content, fish is loaded with omega-3s and omega-6s, as well as a plethora of other micronutrients. Beef doesn't obviously come with the omegas like fish do, but beef is loaded with vitamins, loaded with other micronutrients as well. And it's very, very, very good for us to consume, for performance athletes, for strength athletes and things of that nature. I'm not knocking chicken. I'm not saying you can't get big off of chicken, because I literally just said a few minutes ago, there's been hundreds, thousands of, almost probably close to 1 million bodybuilders, in the world over time that have gotten just massive eating chicken, rice, and broccoli, or, vegetables, right? So I'm not shitting on chicken by any means. You're just asking me my preference. I'm going to choose beef for those reasons. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, however you can get your protein in, that's what matters, right? Like, if you're not going to eat chicken because it's not beef, because of what I'm saying, you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. You're shooting your own self in the foot. And at the end of the day, if you are offered protein, or you have protein in front of you, I don't really care in what form it comes in. You need to eat it, because at the end of the day, hitting your protein goal is a lot more important than being nitpicky about which proteins you're going to consume, instead of just consuming protein, right? So those are my questions for this Q&A. Wrapping this up, did some tricep extensions, just got these incline curls now, and then we're getting out of here. So hope you guys enjoy your Saturday. Like I said, 2 weeks out, I'm looking forward to it. And just looking, hoping to put my best product on the competition floor. Obviously, goals are always to podium, but I have my sights set on winning my first Open Strongman show, and so we'll see how it goes, so stay tuned. But this is my last set of these. I just like to take these incline curls slow and controlled. I like to get a really good stretch at the bottom, making sure I'm keeping my shoulder blades pinned together, so I can really create a good stretch in that bicep towards the bottom end right there, letting it come through a full range of motion. I really like these for strongman. Keeps the biceps healthy, keeps them strong, and then really good pump as well. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. It would be appreciated if you guys shared this video. Leave me a comment. If you got any questions, shoot them down below. I'll get, either answer them down there if it's suitable, or I'll throw them in one of these vlogs, help other people. If you got a question, there's a chance that others have the same question as well. So shoot me a comment down below if you got a question. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, shoot me an email, whatever you got. I just appreciate any and all support that you guys are willing to give me. And just appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Have a good Saturday, everybody.